Namaste and good morning everyone. I am again here after a day to share my thoughts, my views on the Book of Secrets, and we are reading it together, and we are covering every day we are covering one or the other sutra, so that you can pick up one sutra and you can start your inward journey, you can start connecting with your center. So here what we have completed till now is we have completed sutras. I think till 32nd sutra we have completed last time, and here I am with the 430 sutra in front of you all. So I'm just searching for my pencil. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so hope you all are doing well in this lockdown time, in this COVID time, and hope you are practicing one or the other technique, whatever I share. And so today we are going to talk more about looking techniques, and today I am also going to share more about why I am doing this and what is the reason, and how far is the inner center from where you are at present. So it's a lovely topic. So friends, we are having 5 sense organs. You know about this, and I have been talking about this again and again. So we have this 5 senses. We are gifted with these 5 senses with us, and we use these 5 senses to see the world around us. If there are objects around us, then only these senses are useful. So if there is an object to see, our eyes are worth using. If there is a smell to be smelled, then our nose has some weightage. If there is something beautiful to be heard, or something which you don't want to hear, the ears are there. And there is so much to feel using your all over body, all over senses. You have something to say, to connect, then this tongue is there. And if there are tastes to be tasted, then you are gifted with the tongue. So if anything in this world is, I should say, if all these things disappear, if articles around us, the world around us disappears, then there is no use of these senses with which we are gifted. And where is our center? I have been questioned from many of the friends in personal. You keep on talking about the center, and it is a journey which is far beyond. We cannot reach it. So sorry, there was some issue with my mobile. So friends were asking me, where is the center you keep on talking about? So friends, we have this senses gifted, and we utilize these senses to look outside, and these senses can take you with the inner journey. The inward journey is also possible if you use these senses. So let us talk about this, that these are the 5 senses and you are here in the middle, and this is the distance which you have to cover to see, to feel, to hear, or to connect with the outer world. And if this is the middle point and these are the senses and this is the outer world, the same distance is the inner world, from here to here. If you are using your senses to travel inward, then this is the same distance. This is the distance which you have to reach, and here is your center. And from these senses you can also touch the outward world. And there is one more thing, without going out, without touching the outer world, and without living your senses towards the outer world, you cannot go inside also. You cannot go this inward journey also. And there is beautiful, there are parables mentioned and there are lines mentioned in the book which gives you 3 things while you are living to do. And what are these 3 things? So the first beautiful thing is mentioned again. You may say that why I keep on talking about death, but death is very necessary to be talked about, and no one is there out in the world who is readily talking about death. And when we talk about death, for example, you and if I'll say just think about death, close your eyes. 80% of you are going to think about death, which is going to come on people around you. You may think, I may lose my partner, I may lose my child or my parents. None of us think about that death may also take us into its lap. Why is it so? Because we don't think that we are also going to die. We don't go for this awareness. In Hinduism, in Hindu culture, because of this awareness of death, people used to leave when they used to get at an age, maybe in the old age, they used to understand that death is there which is going to come. And to attain that death, I need to leave all this outer world. So they used to go, and it was called Vanprast. They used to go in jungle and meditate and die in peace. They never waited in this worldly pleasures for the death to arrive. They wanted to attain a peaceful death. I am not asking you to leave all this worldly pleasures and go in Vanprast and wait for your death to come. No, I don't mean to say that. I just mean to say that you need to be aware that you are going to die someday, and that someday can be the next moment also. It can be tomorrow, it can be today, it can be just few hours we are talking and we may lose some of the other person. You may not see me tomorrow. Now this awareness is very important, and if this awareness comes, this is the first thing which separates us from animals. Animals are not aware that they are going to die. They have no awareness of death, and that makes us human. We need to have the awareness of death, and if throughout we are aware of death, then we can bring a lot of change in our life. And there are few more things to be added upon this. This is a very good idea of a good parenting. Now, death, you don't have to make your child aware of losing you. It is like everything has a period when it vanishes, when things are no more there, when things change, when life change. So everything which is around us has a limited period. It is there with us only for a limited time, only for a limited hour. So we need to enjoy whatever is available to us for a little time, and everything is going to change. So if people out there bring their kids with awareness of things are going to perish, then this is one of the best part of bringing up your child, or a spiritual parenting. I provide spiritual parenting classes. That is not about teaching them shlokas or Vedas. Your child is not going to attain anything if you are going to expose him to Sanskrit language or expose him to Gita or Vedas or Upanishads, until and unless you maintain that everything is perishable. So this is one of the most important point for spiritual parenting. If you can accept this, if you can go for it. So I was again talking about, the first thing Tantra says that if you have the awareness of you being perishable, that gives meaning to your life. The second point comes, whatever you are doing, you need to ask yourself that what is it adding upon to in my life. If you are poor, you have a meaning to your life. You make a big house, you try to get new clothes, you try to arrange for food. Poor people are at their best. They are arranging lunch, and then they enjoy it, and then they have the aim to arrange dinner, and then they look forward for where to sleep. So every moment they have some or the other objective to go in a further moment. And if you are a person here blessed with all the worldly pleasures of the world, with a huge big house and with 4 cars in front of your house, and you're not left with nothing to be achieved, then it makes no sense. When you get up in the morning and if you have no goal and no sense of achievement, okay, let us say you have 1 factory today and you would like to have 4 more, and then after 4 more, if you can have 1 factory in every country, and then what? And if you can be the most powerful person in the world, then what? Your expectations, your wants are going to have a limitation. You need to understand that it is going to end somewhere. There is a full stop somewhere. Means if you achieve everything in this world, don't have that notion that I am going to be the most happiest and the most blissful person in this world. That is especially not going to add on to value, not going to add on to any achievement in your life. Achieving worldly pleasures, the best in the world, is not going to make you blissful or happy. So this was the second point. And let me just read few things. One incident when Alexander came to India, and this is one of the most beautiful thing. So he met Diogen. So many people pronounce it. He was a saint, and he was sitting on the bank of a river, and he was like joyful, and Alexander could not resist meeting him, and then he wanted to meet this saint, and the saint was informed that Alexander is coming. And so let me read what happened. So the great Alexander is passing this way. It would be good if you meet him. The saint was called, and he was said this. And he said, the great Alexander? Who has said this to you? I think he himself has. So tell your great Alexander that he has nothing to give me. There is no need for him to meet me, and I am very small man. And there is more which was added upon by the saint. And then Alexander has to meet him. He came. I hear you are going to win the whole world. So I closed my eyes, and I thought, okay, if I have won the whole world, then what? This has been my problem constantly. If I have won the whole world, then what? It is reported that Alexander, after hearing this, became very sad. Then what? He said to the saint, do not talk such things. You may be very sad. The saint said, but you will become very sad when you will win the whole world. What can I do? I am just imagining, and I have come to the conclusion that it is useless. You are making a suicidal effort. You yourself are trying to win the whole world. So then what? If you succeed, then what? So if I succeed, then what? Is there any meaning in it all, or is there some artificial meaning given by you only to divide or to create an illusion around you so that you feel you are doing something worthwhile? And all this time you are really wasting life and energy, not doing anything worthwhile. People are living in misery. They keep on trying to achieve a number of pleasures, and they feel better. They compare themselves with others, having more with them, and people having less with them are never being asked. If you have more money, if you have more bigger house, then you are asked by people out there, and they cater towards you. And if you are poor, they don't cater you. So this is generally what is happening in our society. But people who are in this race of achieving, are they reaching somewhere? Is there a blissful land they are reaching? It is difficult to answer this. What is the meaning of all this? What are you doing? Just passing time and destroying your own life? Or have you got some authentic meaning which you can say makes you happy and blissful? This is the second consideration which will turn you inward. So the first point was talking about death and becoming aware of death. And second is, what am I doing? Am I really making good out of my time? And then the third is, then this is one of the most beautiful point. Man goes on forgetting. You go on forgetting things. You were angry yesterday and repented it. Now you have forgotten. And if the same stimulus is given again, you will be angry again and again. And this has been so for your whole life, if you go on repeating the same thing. It is said that it is very extraordinary to find a man who learns through life. Very rare. So the third most important point says that you have the opportunity. You don't have to read any book. You don't have to go to any guru. You don't have to go in search of any teacher. You can just give a thought about your own life and learn from your own life. And trust me, friends, that is what I did. There are very rare people who learn and reflect their own life. Whatever happened in your life has happened for a reason. And if you keep on going to repeat it again and again, you are going to make the same mistake. If you are angry on the same thing today, why you were angry yesterday for the things you were angry yesterday, there's no change in you. It makes no sense. So you have to remember these three things always. Again, I repeat, first is bring awareness of death. The second is just reflect what you are doing. Is it worthwhile doing? And the third is learn from your own life. So if your own life cannot give you something, nothing can give it to you. Learn through your own life, conclude through it. What have you been doing with yourself? If you are in a wheel, jump out of it. And this is what is called as sansar. Until and unless you are able to understand this sansar is a wheel, you will never be able to pop out from this. You will always be someone who is going to be a part of it again and again in the same wheel rotating. So now this 3 will help you to turn in if you remember these 3 things. And this was not a technique. I'm going to read about the 33rd technique, 33, okay. So just look into the limitless sky. And I have heard many of the people are using it these days in corporate world, and there are spiritual leaders out and they're foreigners and using this sutra to make the people get centered. And you being Indian, this is an Indian sutra from an Indian book. Why don't you go and practice it? And what you have to do is when the sky is clear and when it's blue and when there are no clouds, just go to your terrace or go to a garden maybe in evening, or go to the utmost point on your terrace, house terrace, and lie down and start popping towards the sky and start watching it, start gazing the sky and keep gazing it at one point. And you are going to see the chemistry, the geometry, the blankness which you have inside. There's nothing in this world to be achieved. Everything is blank. And we are a part of this geometry in this world. Everything will be shown to you. All the geometries, all the spiritual geometry, if you have ever seen or made, or if you are aware of them, if you just gaze the sky, the empty, the blank sky, you will have the gift of the third eye. And it is so difficult to believe this because your mind is not going to help you do this. They are going to say you are going mad and you are going crazy and you are going astray. This is very simple. The most simple thing to do, keep on gazing the sky without thinking. Don't think, just stop this chatterbox, blah 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 blah. Where is my money? What he's saying? What is she saying? She insulted me, they said me this. Just forget everything and look into the sky, the blank sky. And don't try to revolve your eyes like this, no. Just with one eye, keep on gazing and gazing and gazing and gazing, and let that emptiness become you. And if the sky enters you, you will understand the emptiness inside. you're going to feel that emptiness inside, and that is going to take you towards your own center. So friend, let me read few lines from this sutra also, from the book also. The sky is the most empty thing. It is just near you and it costs nothing. You do not have to go somewhere, or to Himalayas, or to Tibet, or to any other ashram, to any other guru, to any other teacher. Just use it. Use it before they destroy it, and they will destroy it. And who are they who are going to destroy your sky? Your eyes have been destroyed. You are unable to see the truth. You are unable to hear the truth. You are unable to smell the truth. You are unable to speak the truth. You are unable to eat the correct taste. You have forgotten everything. You don't remember anything. You don't know from where you have come. You don't know. You don't want to be heard. You don't want your inner voice to be heard. We really want. We have closed our ears. You don't want to hear. Come on, open up. People who are destroying everything in this world are going to destroy the sky also. The easiest means to touch your inner being. Come on, get up and go out. Maybe I understand this is the sunny time. Try to search a morning hour. Maybe at 6, get up at 5:30, the sun rises. Or maybe in late evenings by 6 o'clock. And gaze the sky. In coming future, there will be no sign of sky. Our coming generation, maybe the third after you, are going to be packed inside buildings. There will be no stars and no sky for them. The COVID has given you the gift of mask. You have to wear it and live the whole year. The whole life you have to live like this. And there are more diseases popping out because of what? Because of selfish motives of people out there. Try changing yours, and if 10 people, 11 people change, if 1 people changes, there are 100 whose heart change, because we all are connected. If I am saying it to you and you are able to understand me, you are able to hear me, then something is there in you which connects you to me. I am living you also and you are living me also. We all are intact and connected. And if I think about changing my inner self, my inner dimension, there can be 100 people out there who will think about changing it. So one person makes a difference. If you meditate, then 100 are going to meditate. That is for sure, because we all are connected. This is all big, huge connection. This is not a Wi-Fi connection. We have just recently recovered that mobile can connect us, internet can connect us. But friends, we are connected since we started our journey. Every human being, we are connected with all the life forms in this world. If anything happens to anyone of our loved family, we get the intuition, we get a strong intuition of it. If anyone we love is happy, it makes us happy. If anyone we love is in misery, it makes us miserable, and we don't understand why I'm upset, why I feel like crying. And you can only feel this when you come up to this level of awareness, when you're centered, when all those chazos stop. So, we were talking about the sky. So, look and penetrate into it. And the look must not be thinking. It is a non-thinking look. Then you will feel the same sky within, the same dimension within, the same space and blueness and emptiness. That is why Shiva says, simply by looking into the blue sky beyond clouds, the serenity. So it was beautiful. It was so good having you all hear me. And 34 technique is a secret method. I'm going to share it tomorrow or maybe day after. Till then, try to gaze the sky. Namaste.